Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Harley Carnes Podcast. Harley on the headlines. That's just what it sounds like. It's me talking about the headlines briefly. Just a common sense take on whatever's happening. I appreciate not doing it alone, too, which is to say, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Liking, following, subscribing are all excellent ideas for getting more folks into this neighborhood gathering. Playing fast and loose with the idea that only the citizens of a country can vote in their national elections is a bad thing. It ought to be the rule for any election, of course. I mean, citizens make the decisions about who is going to lead their nation, their states, counties, and towns. It's just common sense. You couldn't go to Iraq and just show up and vote in one of Saddam's elections, even though he was always the only choice on those ballots. They still didn't want you there. They still required that, just like every other nation requires, that only citizens of voting age may vote. The people of every country, they understand that. They get that. So what the hell is wrong with some of us? There is no more naked grab for power you don't have and don't deserve than to try to have non-voters help you cheat. Young people, and I'm talking about pre-voting age teenagers, are not stupid. They can see what's happening in this country. With one side of our mouths, we tell them America is special and precious and worth protecting and even dying for in a uniform of military service. We tell them that honor and honesty and loyalty and fair play are part of what has made this country great and what will make them great. We tell them this is a place people all around the world would love to call home. Besides, they can see that. And then those young people also see nearly half of the Congress, the House and the Senate, refusing to simply require that only citizens can vote. These young people are not stupid. We adults know that all humans learn a lot more from watching what we do than from hearing what we say. Our young people can see that nearly half of the highest government bodies in this land are made up of lying, cheating, piss-poor excuses for human beings who talk a great game but live and lead, God help us, dishonestly. Here's the worst part. With our actions, we teach our young people that cheating and lying is part of the deal on the most basic of standards, voting. Don't complain when they lie to you, cheat in school and on each other. Don't complain when they become you. They're going to become us. Drones are pretty cool flying machines. Drones are also a problem. Didn't take long after they were invented that we turned them into war machines. How great to be able to load them up with explosives and go blow something up and not be in the way, or spy on the enemy, or someone, or a facility. China's been buying up land around many of our most sensitive military installations. At the same time, the presence of drones flying over and near those sensitive military installations has gone up. No pun intended. Maybe there's no connection. I don't know. Example, there is a no-fly zone over Fort Hancock in Texas, as there is over many sensitive facilities, like nuclear power plants. You can't fly over top of them, never have been able to. A drone was shot down over Fort Hancock. Turns out this one belonged to Customs and Border Patrol. We don't know what they were watching, probably some illegal who wasn't where he was supposed to be, namely back home. Didn't matter to the guys at Fort Hancock, they shot the drone down. Now, reporters called that a mishap. That's not true. It was not a mistake to shoot down the drone. It's not a mishappening. The drone strayed where it wasn't supposed to be. The military shot it down. That's what the no-fly zone is. You don't fly there. Border Patrol knows that. Now they've got 3 Democrats from the House. Rick Larson of Washington, Andre Carson of Indiana, and Benny Thompson of Mississippi. None of them from Texas, you might notice, releasing a statement saying, "Our heads are exploding over the news that DOD shot down a customs drone using a high-risk counter-unmanned aircraft system." Idiots. Any chance to try to stir the pot, right? Idiots. If and when we ever have trouble, war trouble with China, we will all have trouble with drones. China is very, very good at flying drones. Whole swarms of drones. Load them up with little bombs and it would be formidable. Works both ways, of course. We have drones, but that's the new deal in modern military warfighting. Ukraine and Russia can testify. China has already been practicing off the coast of Taiwan. Huge drone maneuvers there. Bad days are coming. Bad days are coming. Anyone can see it. We better hope our counter-unmanned aircraft systems work really well. As in, how can we make a whole cloud of drones just fall out of the sky? I don't know if they're working on that. It'd be cool if they are. When the U.S. arrested Venezuela's president for alleged drug crimes, the huge Venezuelan oil business was reduced to a trickle. Cuba started suffering because of that right away, because the island depends so heavily on Venezuelan oil. That was not something the administration planned. The U.S. may oppose Cuba's government, but we don't bear the Cuban people any ill will. So the U.S. is saying it's time to start deliveries of oil from Venezuela to Cuba again, provided that the oil is used by the citizens and by private companies there. How are they going to ensure that? I sure don't know, but it sounds nice. The point is, the requirement is that the Cuban military, intelligence services, and other government offices not get their hands on that oil. Now, here's one way the impact will be felt that we can all understand. Air Canada had to cancel flights to Cuba because they couldn't refuel there. Other airlines face the same situation. This new decision will fix that, and a lot of other things. Oman is the mediator of the latest round of U.S.-Iran talks. Oman says there was progress toward agreement to end Iran's nuclear program and curtail its ballistic missile capability and on sanctions and all the rest. Progress has proven to be an easy word to speak in the past. So get back to us when there's a deal that actually means something. There's a new blood test. It's worth getting if you're getting old and your memory may be fading or confusion reigns a little more often than it ought to. The test can predict if Alzheimer's is in your future 3 to 4 years down the road. That's not a whole lot of warning, but it is something. It'd be like getting the worst news in the world, at least in advance. All the test does is measure how much early plaque has built up in your brain already. You'd have to decide if that's a good thing. They hope it is, because it means you could start taking some meds and do anything else that might improve your brain earlier instead of waiting until you get lost at the mall or can't remember the names of the family you built. Would you want a head start on that? The House Oversight Committee got out of Hillary Clinton exactly what they expected to get in their Epstein investigation. Nada, zip, zero. She told him the same thing that was in her statement. She never met the man, didn't know him, never talked to him, didn't know anything about his business, and therefore had no knowledge that would assist them in their investigation. She said that every chance she got. She couldn't resist trying to paint the investigation into a protect Trump political exercise, but that's just Hillary being Hillary. She's kind of pitiful these days. Everyone, and I mean everybody, should want to know how far and how deeply Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise went and how many people, corporations, and nations were damaged by it. And yes, all of the files. I don't care if they hurt the president or not. All the files should and must be released. Bill Clinton takes his turn on the hot seat today. He had a relationship with Epstein. That's made very clear in a whole lot of photographs and in the information we already know, dozens of trips to the island. Now, if Bill tells us he only went there to play board games and maybe have a beer, we just might be suspicious. This isn't the stuff of gossip and such. Epstein had access to real information and secrets which augured to his benefit and to that of his friends. It's a broad and smarmy situation, and Bill Clinton was president of the most powerful nation on the planet, or had been, and still had and has a head full of secrets. What is the Clinton-Epstein story? It's something history and maybe prosecutors need to know. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not ever, as in ever, want a snake to slither into a bathroom that needs my attention and lie in wait there for me. You don't either, I'm sure. See, the first thing snakes do is bite if they can't get away. Bad news if they're poisonous. Also bad if they are not, because take a python or other constrictor, for example. First, they latch on. Then the long snake's body coils itself around your body and squeezes and squeezes until you are rearranged into a long, mushy form that it can swallow for a week's worth of sustenance. In Australia, Queensland, a snake catcher named Wooly got a call. He slid open the door to the loo, and there on the floor was known as a carpet python. One of the places snakes like to wait is in the toilet, under the seat where you sit. It's cool and moist there, and they like water. Anyway, Wooly caught and removed the big snake. How it got there? Wooly said, well, one of three ways. One, it fell through a bathroom vent from inside the roof. Two, it snuck in during the day and went into hiding. Or three, someone in the house is a witch and turned themselves into a snake. Hey, I didn't say that. Wooly did. Heck, I didn't even know. Heck, I didn't even know that a witch could turn herself into a snake. Thank you for joining today for Harley on the Headlines. I do appreciate you being here. I hope there's something worthwhile in that little collection of stories, and I hope you'll help put out the word and maybe more people can join in. Like, follow, subscribe, send some emails. I'd sure appreciate it. In the meantime, I am Harley Carnes. We'll talk again. Until then, do yourself a favor, would you? Make some good decisions in your life today. Be happy. That's a choice. And fly safe. It's the only way to get there. It really is.